The sun had barely risen. A thin mist clung to the streets like a secret. I walked with slow steps, the sound of my shoes echoing against the empty buildings. The air smelled damp and earthy. A cold wind brushed against my face, carrying a strange metallic scent. I had never noticed this part of the city before. The streets were narrow, almost suffocating, and shadows clung to the corners. Every window seemed to watch me. I felt a twinge of unease in my chest, a warning I could not ignore. A small alley caught my attention. It was narrow, almost hidden, with walls covered in faded graffiti. Something about it drew me in, as if it were calling. I stepped inside. The light dimmed immediately. The mist thickened, wrapping around me like a living thing. I heard a sound, a low, vibrating hum that seemed to come from the walls themselves. I froze. My heart pounded. The sound grew louder, echoing in my skull. The alley ended at a rusty metal door. It was old, scratched, and unmarked. A strange feeling washed over me. My hands trembled as I reached for the handle. It was cold, almost shockingly so. I pushed the door open. A sharp creak split the silence. Inside, the room was small, empty, yet filled with a faint glow. The walls were covered in old papers and photographs, yellowed with age. Every image was strange. Faces I did not recognize stared at me, their eyes following every movement. I stepped further inside. The humming became a low voice, almost whispering. It seemed to speak directly into my mind. I felt my skin prickle, my breath quicken. Then I saw it, a box in the center of the room. It was small, unassuming, yet it radiated something I could not name. I approached it slowly, my hands shaking. The lid was heavy. I lifted it. Inside was a collection of objects, each one more puzzling than the last. Old keys, strange stones, faded letters. And at the very bottom, a small notebook. I opened it. The writing inside was precise, almost obsessive. It spoke of events that had not happened yet. It described people I had never met. It named secrets I did not know I kept. My pulse raced. A chill ran down my spine. The room seemed to close in around me. The humming grew louder, more insistent. I could feel it vibrating through the floor, the walls, my very bones. Then I read the last page. It mentioned me. It mentioned this moment. It told me what I would do next. And how I would change forever. I dropped the notebook. The objects rattled inside the box. The glow from the walls intensified, harsh and blinding. I stumbled back, nearly falling. The room was no longer silent. Whispers surrounded me, incoherent yet urgent. I had to escape. I turned to run, but the door was gone. Only the walls remained. The mist inside the room thickened, moving like smoke with a mind of its own. I realized then that nothing would ever be the same. Every step I had taken before had led to this moment. Every choice, every turn, every quiet day had been preparing me for what was happening now. I felt trapped between what I knew and what I was discovering. The walls seemed to breathe. The whispers grew louder. The glow became unbearable. Then I understood. The mystery was not outside me. It was inside me, and it had been waiting for this moment. Waiting to change everything. I pressed my palms against the walls. They felt alive, warm and pulsing under my fingers. The mist coiled around my legs, tugging at me, almost restraining me. Every breath I took tasted metallic and sharp. I could hear my own heartbeat pounding like a drum in a dark cavern. The whispers became clearer. They were not random. They were names, events, places, warnings. I shivered as the voice called my own name. It was soft, almost gentle, yet it carried the weight of inevitability. A movement in the corner caught my eye. A shadow, long and thin, flickered across the glowing walls. I squinted, trying to make sense of it. The shadow stretched and shrank, shifting like liquid. Then it became a shape, a figure hunched over, faceless, yet unmistakably human. I froze. The figure did not move, yet I felt its presence pressing into me. I wanted to scream, but my voice refused to come. The room seemed to stretch, elongating in impossible directions. Objects in the box rattled as if responding to the presence. I took a cautious step back. The floor beneath me trembled. The mist thickened, turning into a cloud so dense I could not see my own hands. The glow pulsed, bright and dim in a rhythm that matched my heartbeat. Fear had taken root in my chest, growing with every second. I realized then that the box was the source. It was not just a collection of objects. It was a key, a vessel, a signal. It had called me here, and it would not let me leave until I understood its purpose. I forced myself to pick up the notebook again. The pages flickered in my hands, the ink shimmering like liquid fire. The writing rearranged itself, words forming and dissolving before my eyes. It was no longer just about predicting events. It was about guiding them, shaping reality itself. A cold wind swept through the room. It carried whispers of warnings, pleas, and threats. I realized I was not the first to stand here. Others had come, drawn by curiosity, ambition, or desperation. Some had been trapped forever. Some had vanished without a trace. I felt the figure move closer. It did not speak. It did not need to. Its presence alone filled the room with dread. I felt my thoughts being pulled, twisted, rearranged. Every memory, every fear, every hope, every regret was laid bare. I stumbled to the box. I needed answers. I needed to understand why it called me here, why it knew me so intimately. I lifted one of the objects, a small, worn key. It felt heavy in my hand. As I held it, I heard a single word in my mind, unlock. The figure leaned closer. I could feel its cold breath, even though it had no mouth. It was demanding, insistent. I realized then that this was not a choice. This was destiny. I approached a wall that shimmered strangely. It was different from the others, almost liquid in its glow. I inserted the key into a tiny, hidden lock I had not noticed before. It fit perfectly. The wall shuddered. The glow expanded, swallowing the room in brilliant light. I felt my body lifted, stretched, and pulled through a tunnel of sensation. Time became meaningless. The whispers turned into a chorus, echoing across centuries and possibilities. I saw visions, my life, the lives of others, moments I could not comprehend. I saw pain, loss, love, triumph. Every thread of reality seemed to unravel and reweave around me. Then I landed. The room was gone. I was outside, standing in the alley where it all began. The sun was setting, casting long orange shadows across the city. Everything seemed normal, yet I knew it was not. In my hand, I still held the notebook. The key was gone, but the box had left its mark on me. I could feel knowledge, power, and fear mingling within me. I understood things I was never meant to understand. The world had changed, and so had I. I walked home slowly, each step heavy with the weight of what I had seen. The streets looked familiar, but I noticed details I had never seen before. The cracks in the pavement, the way the wind whispered through the trees, the distant hum of the city, all seemed connected to something larger. I realized the mystery was not over. It had only begun. That night, I could not sleep. I kept the notebook on my bedside table. Its presence hummed softly, like a heartbeat. Every page seemed to pulse with energy. I wanted to open it. I feared to open it. But I knew I would. Days passed. Life went on, but nothing felt ordinary anymore. I could sense hidden patterns, secrets buried in plain sight. Every encounter, every coincidence, every choice seemed significant. I realized that I had become part of something vast and unknowable. Then, one evening, I heard it again. A familiar hum, soft at first, then growing louder. It was coming from inside my own room. The notebook vibrated. The air shimmered. And I understood. The mystery had not ended. It had chosen me as its keeper. Everything I had known, everything I would experience, was now intertwined with it. And I knew, with a certainty that both thrilled and terrified me, that nothing would ever be the same again. I picked up the notebook. The pages turned themselves. A new message appeared, written in the same precise hand. It was addressed to me. It was waiting, and I knew that my journey into the unknown had only just begun. Days turned into weeks. The notebook remained at my side, humming softly, a constant companion. I had learned to live with its presence, to listen to its whispers without fear. The world felt different, richer, heavier with hidden truths. I noticed things I had never noticed before, the way shadows lingered, the subtle shifts in light, the patterns in the wind. The mysterious figure never appeared again. Its absence was unsettling, yet comforting. It had served its purpose, guiding me to understanding. I realized that some mysteries are not solved by force, but by observation and patience. One quiet evening, I returned to the alley where it all began. The mist was thinner now, the air warmer. The walls were still covered in faded graffiti, yet the alley no longer seemed threatening. I could feel the echo of the room, the box, the glow, but it felt distant, like a half-remembered dream. I sat on the edge of the alley and opened the notebook one last time. The pages were calm now, no longer shifting or pulsing. The words seemed to reflect not the future, but possibilities. It was a map of choices, a guide rather than a command. I understood then that the notebook was not a trap. It was a gift, a way to see the threads that connected life, mystery, and discovery. I closed it gently. The hum faded into silence. The weight in my chest lifted. The world felt vast, but no longer threatening. I had changed. I had grown, and I knew that the knowledge I carried was not meant to frighten, but to awaken. As I walked away from the alley, the sun dipped below the horizon. The sky blazed in colors I had never noticed before. Every sound, every shadow, every scent of the city was alive with meaning. I realized that life itself is a mystery waiting to be discovered. And though some secrets remain hidden, the courage to explore them changes everything. I looked back once, but the alley was empty. No door, no mist, no glow, just ordinary walls bathed in evening light. Yet inside me, a spark remained. A spark of curiosity, wonder, and understanding. The mystery had changed everything. Not just the world around me, but the world within me. And with that, I stepped forward into the night, ready for whatever secrets awaited next.